Hello, everyone, my dear brothers and sisters who I love and cherish. I'm here to give you a recap of last week's topic, which was Joshua chapter 5. So, if you go over to Joshua 5, verses 1 through 9, it speaks about the circumcision of the Israelites. The circumcision is kind of like a covenant between God and Abraham's descendants. And even though they were circumcised before, while they were in the wilderness, the following generation, the children did not get circumcised. So if you go to verse 9, it says, rolling away the disgrace of Egypt from you. So by submitting on the act of circumcision, they kind of like do a renewal as well as a symbol of their freedom, that they are no longer part of Egypt and Egypt is no longer part of them, that they are no longer slaves, that they truly are free indeed. Just like when it comes to us in our lives, Egypt could be our past, the very things that limited us. It could be addictions, past traumas, things that we've gone through. It was the very things that stopped us from being the very people that God created us to be and that had us enslaved. But we have to really recognize that we really are free indeed. And those that actually start to believe they're free, they start acting that they're free. And the enemy doesn't like that. So continue and act free, be free, because you are free. Now, if we go over to verses 10 through 12, this is talking about the food from the land. Now, while they were in the wilderness, God provided them with manna from heaven as a source of their food. But once they reached Canaan land, they actually ate the physical food from the land itself. And now manna is no longer an option or even available to them. Now, in order for them to eat, they would have to act on God's promises, really rely and provide, and then trust that God will provide for them, provide for us as well. This also applies to a person's spiritual development, their growth. It's like when you're feeding a baby, but then it becomes a serious problem when you're spoon feeding a 12-year-old. God does expect us to exercise and increase our responsibility into our spiritual growth. We have to level up. In order for us to seek God's promises and what He has in store for us, we do have to work on our discipline and our consistency. Is I always say is always key. How God manifests in my life is going to be different how He manifests in your life. He is a personal God after all, and how He works with me will be differently than how He works with you. And that's why I'm so grateful He is who He is, and I love Him so much. Okay, now if we go over to verses 13 through 15, this is where Joshua goes and walks into Jericho and sees a man standing there with his drawn sword out. What he asks him is either, it's kind of like, are you friend or foe? Like, are you for us or are you with the enemy? And the man pretty much tells him, I'm commander of the Lord's army. And this is where Joshua bows down to him. Now, if he was an angel, he would not accept this type of worship at all. But he kind of acted like it was due to him. So this is actually the visible manifestation of the Son of God. Now remember that Joshua was selected after Moses, so this is actually Joshua's burning bush moment. It even comes with the command of removing his sandals, just like Moses was told at his moment. So I believe that this also comes down to that only God can turn an ordinary place into a sacred place, into a extraordinary place. So it doesn't matter where you're at, what you're doing right now. It might seem small, it might seem like it's not much. It can even get discouraging. I know, sometimes I get discouraged. But I found out that consistency is key and not going with what I feel. I have to go against with how I feel in order for me to continue with that concept of consistency, that I have to be consistent in order for me to reach the goal. And my goal is that I want to be where God wants me to be. And that's my goal. So I hope that is also your goal. And I hope that you got the same knowledge I got from this, the same wisdom. And I pray that you can also apply it into your daily lives. Well, I love you guys. Have a great one. And we'll be speaking about Acts 5 next. So be ready. Love you. Bye.